The Cleveland Cavaliers need depth at a few positions, but their biggest need by far is at the 3, where multiple players are currently being miscast. With that being said, one of the players they could target in free agency using their MLE is none other than Kelly Oubre Jr. One thing is for certain, the Cavs need a scoring punch out of the small forward spot, preferably one who can knock down the 3 ball. Enter Kelly Oubre Jr., a 6'7 wing who is fully capable of scoring in bunches. He is not afraid to let it fly, especially from long range. Hell, 7.1 of his 17.1 total shot attempts per game this season came from distance. That is more than anyone on the Cavs roster not named Donovan Mitchell. Sounds good, right? Well, sort of. After being selected with the 15th overall pick back during the 2015 NBA draft, Oubre has bounced around the league a bit, suiting up for the Washington Wizards, Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, and most recently the Charlotte Hornets. He can get hot, operating as somewhat of a microwave scorer, but there is a reason why Oubre hasn't found long-term stability with the team just yet. The problem is that Oubre ain't exactly known for his efficiency. He put up 20.3 points per game this season on 43.1% from the field, including 31.9% from three-point range. He has never shot better than 35.2% from three-point range in 8 total seasons in the league and will be entering the 2023-24 campaign in his age 28 season. It's very possible that he is who he is at this point. Despite that, many teams will likely come calling due to his ability to catch fire in an instant.
Kelly Oubre. He was going to hit Maladone. Thought about it. Leaves it for Oubre. One first and one in the third quarter. All right, that's called DJ time. Kelly Oubre. Hornets back on top.
The Cavs are no different in that regard. Armed with mostly just the MLE, the Cavs can't necessarily afford to get too picky when it comes to potential free agent signings. Bringing Oubre on board would give the Cavs another floor spacing option to work with, which they sorely need. Despite his below average shooting percentages, Oubre has real gravity to him. He draws the attention of the defense at a higher rate than most of the incumbent options at the 3 and would therefore be able to open the driving lanes for the Cavs ball handlers. 1.1 of his attempted triples per game were tightly defended. That doesn't sound like much, but in comparison to, say, Isaac Okoro, who literally didn't face what the NBA considers tight coverage on all but one of his 171 total threes attempted, it would look like a godsend. This past season, the Hornets asked a lot out of him. His role was fluid because of the numerous injuries they sustained. He would find himself suiting up in multiple positions because of it. Oubre spent the lion's share of his time out on the court at the 3, 64% to be exact, but he also spent considerable time at the 2 and even manned the 4 for a bit. Despite his position on the court often shifting, his role actually expanded. He experienced a career high in usage rate this season because of his increased responsibilities. This increase in responsibility resulted in Oubre working on other areas of his game. For instance, he attacked the basket more often, to the point where he more than doubled his drives per game, going from 3.6 to 7.2 in a season span.
That has made a change. Who comes back into the game. He replaces Capella, and I love that play. And Smith coming the other way. The Hornets like to push as much as any team in the league. Oubre leans in and scores. Oubre chased by Barry. Oubre along the baseline, double team looking. Layup is good. What a difficult shot from Kelly Oubre.
He also developed a floater that helped him raise his efficiency from the mid-range area, going from 27% on half an attempt per game to 44% on 1.5 attempts per game. Oubre knocked down 3 or more triples in 21 games during the 2022-23 season. Hell, he knocked down 5 against Cleveland at the beginning of the year.
Oubre gets it back. Rozier looks for an opening. Wheels it to Washington. Oubre is open for 3. Maladone thought about a 3. Elected not to take it. Oubre, he doesn't hesitate. Goes to Washington. Back outside to Oubre for 3. Oh, brother.
Turnover is forced that way in there.
Oubre from the corner. 7 in overtime last year. And Rozier off to Oubre. Oubre fires. He has 2 threes from that left corner.
He is as confident a shooter as there has ever been once he sees the ball go through the net a few times. It's also good to know that 5.5 of his 7 total triples attempted were of the catch and shoot variety. This alludes to the fact that he doesn't need the ball in his hands at all times to be an effective spacing outlet. This ability to play off ball wouldn't disrupt the flow of the offense by taking the rock out of the primary facilitator's hands. Of course, it helped that Charlotte played with the league's 9th best pace. If signed, those attempts will likely decrease modestly, but nevertheless, he'd be impactful. Defensively, Oubre is not exactly a world beater. He does, however, use his length and lateral quickness to disrupt things. He garnered a career-high 1.4 steals per game and was 8th in the NBA in deflections. He can hold his own in isolation, but defense isn't exactly his calling card. And with that being said, Oubre obviously isn't the coveted 3-and-D wing type, but his addition could still add a lot to the Cavs who lack perimeter spacing. After a somewhat promising season, he may have found a home in Charlotte, but if not, the Cavs might want to think about giving him a call.